When you hear the word cybercrime, what pops into your head? Probably something from a movie, right? Some hacker in a dark hoodie making the world crumble with just a few keystrokes. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that Hollywood fantasy and look at the real, invisible empire of digital crime. And honestly, what's really going on might just blow your mind.
Just think about it for a second. What would it be? Shutting down the entire power grid? Taking over air traffic control and sending planes haywire? Is it causing massive real-world destruction all from behind a keyboard? Because that's the picture most of us have in our heads.
But here's the kicker. According to all the experts and looking at the actual data, a true by-the-book act of cyber terrorism has never actually happened. Not once. So, what we think we know, it's pretty much a myth. So, what's the reality?
Okay, to really get this, we have to separate the fiction from the facts. It all comes down to the definition. The word cyber terrorism has been floating around since the 80s, but there's this huge gap between how we say it and what it actually means.
See, the key here is all about the intent and the impact. Organizations like the FBI, they set a really high bar. It isn't just some random hacking. It has to be politically motivated, and it has to cause major physical harm or widespread serious fear. So someone defacing a website, that's not it. But causing a nationwide blackout to deliberately create mass panic, now we're getting warmer. It's about creating violence and chaos on the same level as a traditional terrorist attack, just, done digitally. And these are the nightmare scenarios that actually fit the definition. We're not talking about just stealing data here. We're talking about causing total chaos on a societal level. I mean, can you imagine waking up to find out all property records have been erased? Or a city's traffic system has gone completely haywire? These are the kinds of high-impact events that would qualify, and so far, they've stayed in the realm of theory.
All right, so if cyber terrorism is the big, scary monster that hasn't actually shown up, what's the real danger that's out there lurking on our networks every single day? Well, that, my friends, is cybercrime, and it has totally changed the game for criminals.
The internet basically created the perfect storm for criminals. All of a sudden, geography just doesn't matter anymore. A criminal in one country can hit victims all over the planet with ease. Experts have a term for this: anti-spatial. It means crime is completely detached from a physical place. And that means old-school policing, which is based on location, really struggles to keep up. Crime has become borderless. And this new criminal world is home to all sorts of nasty stuff. Researcher David S. Wall actually broke it down into 4 main categories. First up, you've got cyber trespass. Think of it like digital breaking and entering, hacking, unleashing a virus, that kind of thing. Then there's cyber deception and theft, which is everything from those phishing emails we all get to straight-up credit card fraud. And then things get darker with cyber pornography, which involves illegal content, and cyber violence, which includes stuff like cyberbullying and hate speech, things that cause real psychological harm.
But this is where it gets really interesting, and honestly, a little scary. Cybercrime isn't just a bunch of random acts anymore. Oh no, it's gone pro. It has turned into a business, a very, very big business.
And this quote, it just nails it. This new model is called Cybercrime as a Service, or CAS. The best way to think about it is like a dark web franchise. You don't need to be a coding genius to launch a massive attack. You can just go online to the right places and rent a pre-made toolkit. And get this, a lot of them even come with 24/7 customer support. It's literally crime on demand.
And this pyramid shows you exactly how it works. At the very top, you have a small group of elite coders, the brains of the operation. They build the malicious software. Then in the middle, you've got a much larger group of users. These are the criminals who rent the tools. And at the bottom, well, that's where we come in. Millions, and I mean millions, of victims whose computers, phones, and devices are infected, often without them ever knowing. And then they're all linked together into these huge remote-controlled armies called botnets.
So what does this whole business model look like in the real world? Well, let's take a look at the Eurograbber botnet. This was a super sophisticated operation that went after bank customers all across Europe.
36 million euros. Just gone. And this wasn't the work of one super hacker. No way, this was the result of that organized service-based model we were just talking about. They used malware that hit both computers and mobile phones to get around the bank's security on a massive scale. That's the power of crime as a service.
So if Eurograbber showed us the insane financial power of this model, another infamous toolkit called Zeus showed us just how easy it was to become a cybercriminal.
What made Zeus such a game changer was its simplicity. It was literally point-and-click crime. It was built for people who weren't tech experts, which just lowered the bar for anyone who wanted to get into the business. Its mobile version, Zitmo, was so slick it could actually intercept the security codes your bank texts to your phone, completely defeating two-factor authentication. It basically puts serious financial fraud into the hands of, well, anyone.
So, with crime going global and turning into this massive professional service, how in the world do law enforcement agencies even begin to fight back? Well, they've had to adapt, and one of their most powerful new battlegrounds is social media. And it turns out they're using it in two really distinct ways. On one hand, you've got the performative use. Think of this as a tool for action. This is the behind-the-scenes stuff, gathering intelligence, looking for threats, collecting evidence. But on the other hand, you've got the relational use, a tool for connection. This is out in the open, building public trust, issuing safety warnings, and even asking the public for help during a big crisis.
But here's the massive challenge they face. The vast majority of what we all do online, we're talking up to 98% of it, is just normal life. It's us talking to our friends and family. So trying to find a real threat in that massive ocean of cat videos and vacation photos, it's like trying to find a needle in a global haystack. And that's why agencies are leaning more and more on high-tech tools like AI and sentiment analysis to try and spot the warning signs.
You know, it's a constant game of cat and mouse. As technology marches forward, so does the battlefield. Law enforcement is always trying to keep up, and the next wave of tech is already throwing some huge new challenges their way.
Just think about communications for first responders. We saw it during big disasters, like the 2011 earthquake in Turkey. The first thing that happens is the public cell networks get totally overwhelmed and just collapse. So, the future is all about building smarter, more resilient networks that can hop between different systems and even create their own temporary networks when all the other infrastructure is down.
But the single biggest challenge looming on the horizon? It's got to be the Internet of Things, or IoT. Every smart fridge, every connected car, every doorbell camera, you have to think of each one as a tiny computer that can be hijacked. Every one of them is a potential soldier, just waiting to be drafted into a massive botnet army. The scale of the attacks that will be possible is just going to explode.
And that leaves us with one final and kind of chilling question. In a world where absolutely everything is connected to the internet, from our coffee makers to our city's power grid, where does the front line in the fight against cybercrime even begin?